I'll start by saying titling a video "How to Want to Do Something" is pretty subjective. As of right now, my most viewed video is how to stop wanting to buy stuff. And I sort of wanted to make a part 2 to that video, where I go over a few things that made me actually want to start saving money instead of spending it. The things I'm going to share today are either ways of thinking that I practice or practical steps that I've taken to actually make me enjoy the process of saving money. I also feel like I should mention I'm aware that enjoying life and spending from time to time is important, and oftentimes you have to spend money in order to make money. So apply what I say here today where it makes sense. Here's how to actually want to save money. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and please reducto the subscribe button. Let's get started. Value peace over possessions. I think this might be the single most glaring reason why I enjoy saving money. The peace of mind that comes with just having even a small safety net is priceless, and to me, far more valuable than any item I could use that money on. Aside from its obvious usefulness, this is a big part of the reason why I think everyone should have an emergency fund built. For emergencies, of course, but just being able to sleep a little better at night. I remember feeling a small amount of anxiety every single time I made a big purchase before I started saving more aggressively, and I honestly wouldn't even be able to really enjoy whatever it is I just bought. I wouldn't be able to enjoy it because there was almost always a better place that money could have gone, and deep down I knew that. I of course knew that short-term happiness I got from the purchase was exactly that, short-term. Valuing peace over possessions has overall made me feel a little bit less stressed because I knew I had things like an emergency fund and all of my responsibilities covered. Think in terms of time or opportunity cost. And this is a point that really humbled my spending and encouraged saving. Whenever I thought about how many hours I had to work before making a purchase, it was usually pretty jarring. But just thinking about what I was potentially giving up to make a purchase was usually enough to change my mind. A simple example would just be me passing on a night out and using that money towards something like paying off my credit card. Or my biggest example, putting pretty much all non-essential spending on hold and saving every penny possible towards paying off my car. There's a very fine line between considering opportunity cost and feeling guilty every single time I made a purchase. For me, it was about finding the balance between those two. Because one can make the argument that there's an opportunity cost going both ways, like missing out on a vacation or trip out with your friends just because you want to save. Like I said, it's about finding a balance between the two. View saving as self-respect. I read a book a while back called The Richest Man in Babylon. And there was a big part of that book that went something along the lines of paying yourself first. And I feel like saving is just a great example of that. It's quite literally paying yourself first and exercising a little bit of self-respect, and not to mention a little bit of self-discipline. It is much easier and usually much more fun to spend money instead of saving it. Making unplanned purchases and spending carelessly put my savings goals on the back burner and delayed progress. And by doing that, I'm almost telling myself that those goals are unimportant in that moment. I've made it a habit to respect those goals a little bit more, and by doing that, I've also felt a lot more confident in my ability to save and resist the urge to spend. I recommend just viewing saving in a different light, like respecting some future goals or plans you may have, and just viewing saving as a form of self-respect. Set a savings goal with a name and reason. And this is a more practical tip that has definitely helped me save much more effectively. Even in the times where my savings goals were much smaller, attaching some name to that goal made it feel that much more real and, quite frankly, reachable. If you have a goal of saving $2,000, I recommend quite literally writing down save $2,000 for vacation, car repair, or whatever it is. Having just a few extra words attached to this goal definitely helped me stay on track for the better, because it felt so much more serious than just a general save money. It gives reason behind why I'm saving and keeps that encouragement going every time I add to it. Because whatever it was I was saving for, it was always going to have a big impact on wherever I stood financially. Whether it was something exciting like going on a trip somewhere or paying off some sort of debt, both of these had a pretty big impact on my life. My personal method of doing this was just having envelopes with the goal written down on these envelopes and adding a few dollars here and there wherever I could. Even just doing this allowed me to see my progress being made, which became even more motivating when I saw that progress. Savings allows you to say no more. There was a time a few years ago where I quit my job without any real backup plan. And when I think about it, I was only really able to do that because I had some savings. My point is, I was able to leave that job and not have to stay at it out of desperation, and ultimately find the job I have now, which I love, fortunately. If I had left my job with no plan and nothing saved to help me float for a little bit, I definitely would have had to stay at that job or just find anything I could out of panic or desperation. And having money saved literally bought me time to find a job I enjoyed much more. I've probably quit a job 3 or 4 times in my life without one lined up, which of course is much more stressful at 27 than it was at 18. And most of the time I don't recommend it. But my point is that using a small amount of savings allowed me to stay out of debt and find something new with a much clearer head. It allowed me to say no to things like commitments, to jobs, or some sort of freelance work just because I really needed the money. And I would even argue that it allowed me to say no to cheaper options of things that could have potentially cost more money in the long run. All of these were ways of thinking or practical steps that I've taken to actually enjoy the process of saving money. I really hope you got at least just one takeaway from this to apply to your own savings routines or habits. I think this is a time in the world where we can all find saving money a bit more advantageous and cut back on spending where we're able to. As always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.